Hello everyone, welcome to my chess channel. I am Subir and today I am going to show you a game from round 6 of World Junior Chess Championship held at Baguio City in 1987. After winning against Taimanov, Vishwanathan Anand had a tough challenge to continue his march towards his first Junior World Chess Championship title. Anand was facing Simen Agdestein. Agdestein was the highest rated chess player in this tournament. Simen Agdestein was a Norwegian chess prodigy. Born in 1967, Agdestein was not only a chess genius who became grandmaster by the age of 18, he was also a professional football player, having represented the Norway national football team. Agdestein was known to be highly unpredictable in the openings and was a difficult opponent to prepare against. Let's see how the game went. The game started as e4, nc6. As expected, Agdestein chooses the offbeat Nimzowich defense. However, it gets transposed. White plays an f3 and black plays e5. This transposes to normal kings knights kind of routine defenses. In the normal Nimzowich defense, one could continue as playing, instead of e5, let's say d6. The game can continue as d4, nf6, bishop b5, a6, bishop into c6, bishop into c6, queen e2, e6, c4, bishop b7. But this position generally favors white. In the main game, what happened was that the entire game got transposed into Ruy Lopez. White played bishop b5 and black responded a6. So this is typical Ruy Lopez. Game continued as bishop a4. Agdestein responded b5, white played bishop b3, and at this point black played na5. Now this is again an offbeat variation. This is not quite popular variation of Ruy Lopez, but with Agdestein this choice was not surprising. This variation was first played in 1955 USSR Championship at Moscow between Spassky and Taimanov, and hence this variation is also known as Taimanov variation of Ruy Lopez. Let's see how the game went on. White played castle, white castled, black played d6, d4, knight into b3, a into b3, black played f6, knight c3, bishop b7, and white plays knight h4. Remember, in Ruy Lopez, f5 is a very crucial square for this particular knight to initiate a kingside onslaught. Okay. So that's why knight h4 was played in this position. This was followed by knight e7. This is to prevent the knight f5 move. White played d into e5. This was followed by d into e5. Now remember, in this position after d into e5, even f into e5 is also possible. But it gives white a fairly easy play with black king still being exposed in the center. So let's see what happens if black plays f into e5. F into e5 can continue as f4, e into f4, bishop into f4, queen comes to d7, planning for a long castle out here because kingside castling is very dangerous for black right now. Knight comes to d5, and now if you see the position, white commands the center, has space advantage, and an attacking game is very imminent for white. I would be very comfortable playing from white's end in this position. However, this really did not happen in the game. In the real game, d into e5 was replied by d into e5. Black is wanting white to exchange of the queens so that the game can move on to an endgame and it can be a fairly equal game. This is exactly what white does not want. Hence, white goes for queen f3. Queen f3 prepares for rook to come to d1. Okay, black doesn't have a great square to go, black queen. So in response to queen f3 and anticipating that rook is going to come to d1, black plays queen d7. White, as expected, responds rook d1. Queen goes to e6, knight d5. Now the threat is to capture c7, go for a check and hunt for the queen or the rook. Okay. To this, black played knight into d5. All right. In this position, in fact, long castle is also possible. For example, if to knight d5, instead of capturing the knight on d5, if black castles long, it's still okay, but honestly, if you see the queen side, it's kind of broken queen side, and it can be easily attacked by white. Let's see what happens. If black plays long castle, instead of capturing knight on d5, one can start the attack immediately. c4. Okay. The only way now that black can reply to this move is by a counter attack. To c4, black can play g5. Knight goes to f5, knight into f5, e into f5, queen f7, queen c3, h5, bishop e3, and this is quite a dynamic position. But again, it to me it looks like it favors white. White has got a space advantage. The king side is complete. The queen side, where the black king is now castled, is it looks broken. It's easier to attack that side. So I would favor white's position in this situation. Anyways, let's go back to our game. In the game, knight d5 was replied by knight into d5. This was followed by e into d5, attacking the queen. The queen goes to f7. This was followed by c4. Bishop came to e7. Now this is, according to me, a strategic error by Agdestein, which gave white immediate advantage. At this position, it was very, very important for black to play g6 and prevent the knight from coming to f5. Alright. So, because g6 was not played, instead bishop e7 was played, Anand took this opportunity and replied in f5. Now, white has got considerable advantage in this particular position. We will see how white goes on to take this position to a winning position, because the advantage is right now very, very considerable for white. Anyways, to nf5, black responds rook d8. Now, rook d8 is another serious mistake in this situation. Actually, black bishop does not belong to e7. The e7 it really has no function to do. So at this point of time, actually instead of playing rook d8, black should have played bishop b4. Okay, it does not decrease white's advantage, but it still keeps the game playable for black. If you play bishop b4, the game can continue as bishop d2. Bishops get exchanged over here. White can now cancel king side. c5 comes, rook e1, b4. Of course, white's position is advantageous over here, but it's still kind of playable. I'll show you why rook d8 was not a good move to r5. Now remember, over here, rook d8 is a bad move. Bishop b4 is the move which I'm recommending. Some of you might think, why not castle king side? Castling king side would be a big blunder. All right, let's see why it's gonna be a blunder. If you castle king side, they immediately white can start attacking by playing b8-6. Okay, nothing can be done out here. All right, you cannot capture g into h6 out here, because your knight into h6 will come and your queen is gone. Okay, if you kind of let's say move this rook instead, okay, to any square. Let's say you try to play rfd8. Again, what will happen is that you play b into g7, and the threat is knight h6 check, which will lead to debacle of the queen over here. Okay, you cannot play queen to g6 because your knight will gobble up e7, and again you will have to lose your queen out here. So basically, castle is a big blunder over here. You cannot castle. All right. So nf5 should have been replied by bishop b4, but black played rook d8, although he did not commit the blunder of castling out here. Okay. Now rook d8 was replied by bishop e3. Okay. The idea is to get along this fairly long diagonal. To this, black replied g6. Okay, at this point, g6 is blunder. Okay, g6 is just destroying already vulnerable black position. In this situation, actually, bishop, instead of g6, bishop c8 would have been better. Okay. Anyways, black played g6. This was replied by nh6, attacking the queen. Queen comes to g7, and at this moment, white could have taken the advantage immediately and it would have led to rapid loss of black's game. The best move over here from white is to play c into b5, but unfortunately white did not see this. Anand played queen g3. Okay, but I'll show you what happens when instead of queen g3 you play c into b5. Okay, if white plays c into b5, it would be followed by a into b5, and now rook a7. You see, black must lose a piece out here. There is no way white can save a piece, else the loss is rapid. For example, to rook a7, if you play bishop c8, here comes rook into c7. Let's say black plays f5, it will be followed by d6, e4, d into e7. There is no other choice. You'll have to play queen into e7 now. Rook into e7 check, king into e7. White will just remove the queen, and it's a complete winning position for white. White will come, the queen will come to e2, and then black's game is gone. Okay, so to queen g7, the best move was to play c into b5. However, I don't think Anand saw this. Anand played queen g3. Okay, queen g3 was replied by bishop c8. The threat is to play g5. Okay, with g5, what will happen is that you will have to kind of exchange of this knight with the bishop. All right, and this knight is a very well placed knight for white. So to prevent this, white played h4. Okay, this was followed by bishop d6. Queen went to f3 so that it is away from any discoveries that comes after the movement of the pawn, which is lying between the bishop and the queen. So queen f3, this was followed by bishop e7. Now this is quite a strange move by Agdestein. I do not understand why bishop e7 is placed out here. Bishop e, I think what Agdestein was thinking was to reinforce protection at f6, which kind of doesn't make sense. It's kind of protected. There is not much of danger to f6 over there. In fact, bishop has got no role to play at at e7. Better move again was bishop b4 instead of bishop e7. Although white has got tremendous advantage, and bishop b4 won't lead to much of advantage to black or something, but bishop e7 is definitely not a preferable move. Let's say what happens if you play bishop b4. If you play bishop b4 instead of bishop b7, white will play c5. Queen goes to e7. Threat is to capture the pawn over here. Rook comes to c1 to reinforce the pawn. Bishop comes to b7. Queen comes to e4. This is definitely an advantageous position for white. But what happened was to queen f3, when black played bishop e7, it led to a position which could have been which could have led to immediate disaster for black. Okay, which really did not happen because white played rsc1. Now this is a really passive move. Okay, when black played bishop e7, the best move over here was d6 by Anand. Anand would have won the match immediately. Okay, so let's see what would have happened if Anand would have played d6. d6 would have been followed by c into d6. This will be followed by c into b5, a5, rook into a5, f5, rook a7, e4 attacking the queen. Queen goes to e2, bishop d7, b6. Idea is to get this b pawn queened. Queen comes to e5. The whole point is now to get queen onto queen side and somehow stop this b from queening. But here comes bishop d4, which immediately wins a piece for white. Queen goes to e6, bishop into h8, queen into b3, b7, bishop c6, rook c1, and this would have been an easy win for Anand. Already rook up, and now black would have to give up another piece or so to prevent the queening on the queen side. So this would have been a very easy move for Anand. All right. So bishop e7 was definitely a bad move from black's end, and RAC1 is a really passive move. D6 should have been played over here. Instead, Anand played RAC1. Okay. All right. So to RAC1, black replied B into C4. This was followed by B into C4. Rook went to F8. White played c5. This was followed by f5. Bishop went to g5 and they got exchanged. H into g5. Queen e7, which is attacking the g5 pawn. So white plays queen g3, which to protect the same g5 pawn. f4 attacking the queen. Queen goes to e4, continuing to protect the g5 pawn. Black plays e4. And now white plays d6. Now this time d6 does not work. All right. When bishop e7 was there, d6 was a perfect move to win this game. All right. This d6 by Anand is actually mistimed. Okay. But it really doesn't matter because Anand has a winning advantage out here. He has got this kind of small mistakes won't lead to loss of game or so. Anand would still easily win this particular situation. But d6 is actually mistimed out here. All right. In fact, there was a better move. Instead of playing d6 to e4, so what happened was in the game, black played e4, right? Instead of moving to d6, white could have just played nrc4, and this is again a very advantageous situation for white. Let's see what rc4 would have gained for white. rc4 is followed by e3, f into e3, queen into e3 check, king goes to h1, queen comes to g3, rook e4 check, king d7, queen g4 check, and they get exchanged. Queen into g4, knight into g4. Knight is now eyeing at the f6 square, and nothing can be done to prevent a material loss from the black's end. Okay, let's see. For example, let's say if black plays a5, knight comes to f6 check. There is no square for the king to go. So you have to give up your exchange over here, rook into f6, g into f6. This is easy win for white, right? So rc4 would have been the best move when black played e4. But however, Anand went for mistimed d6 over here. Okay. To d6, black replied queen e5. White played d into c7. This was followed by rook into d1 check. Rook into d1, and here black played something which led to immediate loss. All right, this is anyways winning for white, but black played a very blunderous move which led to immediate debacle. Okay, black played e3, which was the biggest blunder of the game, the final blunder of the game, which Anand immediately pounced upon as an opportunity. The better move over here was to play, instead of e3, queen into c7. Okay, queen into c7 would have continued as knight g4, bishop into g4, queen into g4, rook f5. Idea is to take up this pawn. b4, protecting the c5 now. Queen comes to e7. Idea is to reinforce the e pawn, go for a push over here. White continues with c6, e3 comes in, queen comes to e2 for defense, f3, queen into e3, queen into e3, f into e3, king goes to e7, rook comes to d7 check, king e6, g4, rook f8, rook into h7. And although white has a decisive advantage in this position, white would definitely win this position. But it would have been a not a very obvious win for white. White would have to still fight the endgame to win this particular game. But with e3, the loss was almost immediate. Okay, so let's see what happened in the game when black played e3. Okay, so this is how it started. R into d1 check, rook into d1. Black should have gone for queen into c7 capture, but instead of that, white played. Black should have gone for queen into c7 capture, but black played e3. Okay, this was followed by simply rook d8 check, king e7, knight g8 check. Now remember, king e6 cannot be played. There is no other real good square left for black to play. If you play king f7, it would lead to queen h7 check followed by nh6. You bring queen g7 over here. nh6 check comes in, and a lot of complications start immediately. Okay. You cannot play king e6 over here because rook e8 check will come. Your queen goes for a toss. All right. So here the only way out is to give up the exchange. Rook into g8. This is followed by rook into g8. Bishop comes to e6. White goes for queening. And now black goes for something which we might call as a poison pawn. Okay, this is one last attempt by Agdestein to somehow hope that Anand will blunder and black will win. What is that move? The move is e into f2. Okay, e into f2 check. Now this is a poison move. Okay, what black wants or black hopes is that white is going to capture this pawn with king. Okay, if Anand would have had captured this pawn with his king, it would have been a big blunder. Okay, it would have lost a winning game because black can now reply queen e3 check, king goes to f1, bishop c4 checkmate. Okay, this was exactly what Agdestein was hoping, but he knew that, you know what, at this level nobody's gonna make such kind of blunders. So when e into f2 check came, king into f2 never happened. Anand played queen into f2. Game continued as bishop into c8, rook into c8. And at this point of time, Agdestein realized that it's impossible to play this game, and he resigned. So this was the game. Anand won this game. Very complicated kind of a game in terms of positional nature of this game. This win was extremely crucial for Anand. Okay, because you see, Agdestein was the highest rated player and a very unpredictable player. Anand was not yet a grandmaster when he was playing this particular tournament. He had it was very important for him to win against Agdestein, and after this win, Anand's confidence went up by several marks. He won. His winning streak continued. He won games against Klinger, Ivanchuk, Blackney in the next rounds of this tournament, and as the history goes, Anand became World Junior Chess Champion in 1987. Guys, hope you enjoyed this game. Thanks for watching this video. Bye. See you.